We're back on Radio Row ahead of Super Bowl 58 live this Sunday night on talkSPORT. 10:30 we go underway from the stadium. Myself, Jeff Reinbold, on the play-by-play with the great Nat Coombs in the hosting chair. I'm delighted to say, and I've got a really important question to ask.
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
Like, it's the thing that I am having the biggest struggle with. Colleen Wolfe's with us from NFL Network. So I didn't even actually introduce you. I didn't straight
Wait,
in
I
there.
do this all the time. I will literally forget the name of the show that I'm on because they put me on so many different shows, and they'll be counting me down. I'm like, oh, wait, what's the name of the show? What's the name of the show? Okay, go ahead.
Amazing, amazing. Colleen, I remember very distinctly talking to you in Minnesota and you going through it as an Eagles fan. And what a wonderful finish that was for you.
Truly.
In the build-up, how did you stay in any way, shape, or form neutral?
What is neutral? I've never heard that word before. I'm not even sure. I have no idea because I couldn't. There was no way. I feel like it's lovely when you get an unbiased opinion when you're looking for it. But for me, I always look for people who are fans first because that's kind of like why we're all in this, right? You don't come into this as a neutral person that doesn't like have any type of tie to a team. And I like someone who is transparent about where they're coming from, and I like to hear their stories and their personalities, and that's why I follow certain people because of it. But it's not for everyone, and I totally understand that. It definitely was not for any of the opposing teams that the Eagles have ever played in the history of the Eagles.
I can handle that, and I think my problem is because I'm doing the play-by-play. People expect you to be down the middle.
Yeah,
and
that's different.
And I was third man in the booth for Niners Chiefs back at 54. I'm a huge Niners fan, right?
Okay.
And so.
How exciting for you.
Oh, unbelievable.
Congrats.
Like being here, it's been just the most ridiculous. And because the Niners now have this deal with the UK, the access that they've given us all year, like we had Purdy on, we had Kittle on, like all
incredible.
Like one-on-one stuff. So I'm so entrenched in this team, it's unbelievable. I've told them I expect a ring if they win.
So
like that's the level I'm at now.
You're getting less neutral
the
deeper you go into
it's
this.
So bad.
Oh my God.
It's so bad. And then on Sunday I've got to pretend like I've got to be like if and when the Chiefs win, I've got to be like, oh, what a legacy for Patrick Mahomes, and not just sit there and cry, which is what I'm concerned about doing.
I know. You're a professional, so you'll be able to do it. And you'll just have to wait to cry if that happens until you get back to the hotel. But hopefully that doesn't happen, and you'll be celebrating with the Niners.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Colleen, tell me about going up in an airplane and going at 9Gs or whatever it was.
My God. I had the coolest day of my life yesterday. I haven't even had a chance to really post any of the videos or pictures yet. It was the absolute, most insane experience of my entire life. Went up in an F-16 with the Thunderbirds, so that's with the Air Force. We did
we didn't think it was the puppets from like the 1940s.
Well, because a lot of people are like, well, what about the Blue Angels? And I'm like, well, the Blue Angels are the Navy? I think, the Blue Angels are the Navy.
Okay.
And the Thunderbirds are the real deal. They require full G suits, so you have to go through all sorts of medical clearances and training and briefings. And when I first got there in the morning, they were teaching me how to cut lines on a parachute if we needed to eject. And it was really, really, at first, I was kind of like, this was all a really cool idea in theory. And now that you're telling me about egress training, and I had to do all of this breath work because when you're pulling G's, if you don't breathe correctly, you'll pass out immediately. And when we first went up in the F-16, we did a G warm-up, he called it. So we just hit some light Gs. So right now we're at 1G.
Right,
so that's easy. And the human body, I learned all of this yesterday. I'm like, am I joining the Air Force? This is so cool. The human body can withstand 3 to 4 Gs. So we did a little G warm-up with 5 Gs. And they told me that if you're going to pass out, basically what happens is you lose your color vision first, and everything goes black and white, and then you'll start to get the tunnel that will close in until essentially you black out and pass out. So we started the G warm-up, and I was trying to do the breathing, and the tunnel started to happen. And I was like, no. I've spent my whole life waiting for this moment. I've wanted to do this since I was a little kid. Everyone in my family is in aviation. I absolutely love flying. I love planes. I've always wanted to go up in a fighter jet. And I was like, this cannot happen. And so I was able to like somehow, some way, like breathe through it and reverse the tunnel, and then like came through on the other side. It was so cool. I had the full jumpsuit and the boots and the G suit. They gave me like they had my name on the plane with my pilot, Triple.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was so cool. We were doing knife edges. We did all of the tricks that they do in the air shows. So we were upside down. We were like doing barrel rolls and loops, and it was so cool. And then we pulled the 9Gs, and that was, at first I was kind of like, started to feel a little woozy. And because mind you, I didn't tell them this, I get car sick. Like, I'm not someone who was probably the best equipped to go up, but I was like, I must do this. I have to. And after we did about like 6.5 Gs, the pilot was like, okay, what do you think about 9? And I was like, well, 6.5. And he's like, it's basically like 9. And I was like, that math isn't really mathing for me. Like,
he did like the pilot equivalent of girl math. He just went like,
right.
yeah, 6.5 is basically 9.
And he's
right?
like, well, we just have to rip the Band-Aid off because it's going to be way worse if we like work our way up. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And it was so intense, so cool. I did not think that I was going to have a full body workout. Like, that was not even in my head. But I was completely drenched in sweat. I'm so sore. When I woke up this morning, I felt like I had been at a rager all night long, drinking, partying, not sleeping at all. I was in bed at like 8:45 last night and didn't have one drink. And I'm still like feeling the effects. And because I had 100% oxygen in my mask the whole time, which they were like, that will help with motion sickness. They said if I put it up to 100, that in the next few days I'll have oxygen still trying to escape my head, so my ears will be crackling. So I have a lot of snap, crackle, pop happening in my head right now as well.
Basically, you and I are on the same level, but you went on an incredible flight and I just had tequila at the media party. That's essentially what's happening this morning.
Truly.
And you were in bed a lot earlier. What is this for you now? What number Super Bowl are you on?
This is my 10th season. So yeah, it's my 10th Super Bowl.
And so, how is the Vegas experience comparing for you?
Oh my God. I never thought I would see a Super Bowl in Vegas because I absolutely loved when the draft was here. And you know how Super Bowls are. They take over whatever city they're in, and the city almost becomes unrecognizable because it's just like Super Bowl city. But you can't really do that with Vegas. And Vegas is already one of the most extra places on earth. And then you drop a Super Bowl in there with all of these crazy festivities. All of the celebrities are here. It is jam-packed. Like, I heard that they had no more room for private jet parking. So I don't know how you got here. But, like, I don't know what you did with your
Colleen
jet,
knows me
buddy.
well, clearly. Yeah.
But it is, I'm so excited to see how this week progresses and just the crazy and how everything really will just, like, amp up.
What I never thought about with it, Marshall Newhouse was here earlier, and he said, well, the thing is, I've never done Vegas for more than like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
And I've been to Vegas a fair few times, but again, it's just like, even when we did the Pro Bowl, we only came for like a long weekend.
Yeah, that's like most people. Even 4 days is too many days usually in Vegas.
We go in on Sunday and we leave like after the game on Monday, so it's like.
Oh, yeah. This is,
you
guys are in a rare club of people who will be spending more than 3 days in Vegas in a lifetime.
Yeah, terrifying. I'm genuinely not sure how the rest of this week's going to pan out for me, but there we go.
That's the fun part.
So what does your week look like? What are you doing? I mean, you know, you just said it, you host about 1,000 different shows, but.
Right. So I'm actually doing, for the first time ever, I've never worked a red carpet, and I've never done our NFL Honors show, so I'm doing that tomorrow.
Amazing. I'll see you there. there.
Oh, wonderful. Okay,
Yep.
great. I'll be with MJ Acosta, so we're going to be
Amazing.
holding it down. I'm super excited to be working with her on this event. And then I'm doing all of the in-stadium hosting for the Super Bowl.
Oh,
so
amazing.
I'll be on the field and just kind of hanging out. You'll hear me like yelling a lot at certain points. Maybe you won't be able to hear what I'm saying, but
the fourth tier from like our broadcast booth.
yeah, I'll yell directly to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that massively. MJ's coming on Friday. She's a massive Niners fan as well. So
yes, she worked for the team. And she's a sweetheart. You'll love her. If you haven't met her yet, I don't know.
I think we did like 2 or 3 years ago. We had her on, and she was delightful. But yeah, not with the Niners connection. That's just going to be an opportunity for me to sit here. We had Tori Smith earlier, and again, just sat here and just nerded out about the Niners.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
It's so like. I do feel like a kid in a candy store sometimes, and a couple of the guys here with us, it's their first Super Bowl, and they just
no way.
Just
oh my God,
wild.
I love it for you, baby's first Super Bowl. What? That is great. You're gonna love it. I just remember doing the Super Bowl week in Minnesota when the Eagles were there, and it just felt it was so much fun and it was so surreal, but my job felt so easy that week too, because everything came from such a genuine place of like knowledge and excitement and celebration.
I'm actually not sure if you even know this, but so last year for the Super Bowl, obviously they've been tightening up and they've been making like the number of media in the stadium, who's covering everything else. And you also had a lot of work the week of the Super Bowl. But from what I understood, you didn't have a job on Super Bowl Sunday.
Right.
So our friend Henry Hodgson, who stood just over there chatting to the Irish guys.
Oh my God, Henry's here.
Hit me up about 3 weeks before the Super Bowl and said, if we needed to, could we get Colleen on a talkSPORT pass so she could come and do some stuff on air with you? And I was like, yeah, obviously. Like, she can literally take my job and I'll just stand back and just let her do her thing. That's fine. That would be lots of fun. But then the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. She got invited to a suite and it never happened.
And
so there we go.
And that was the end of everything. The rest was history.
It could have been a wonderful, beautiful thing, and we could have called that Super Bowl together. And
you know what?
Actually,
maybe next year.
I'll keep all of my fingers and toes crossed.
Me too.
Have so much fun this week. I love the fact that we just talked about your flight for basically
I actually just watched one of the Thunderbirds walk by. They're in here, and now I feel like they're my best friends because we had this life experience together.
And it's just a normal.
And they're like, yeah, okay, great to see you. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you guys gonna do now? Should we get lunch? Like,
we have to ask you because everyone asks, what's your pick?
I actually am picking the Niners, and I feel like I am in the minority.
You are on an island.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the people who come through
but
have gone.
If they do win, that island is gonna party.
Oh yeah, trust me. Like the idea of just 3 days in Vegas versus 9 days in Vegas. I'll squeeze 9 days worth of Vegas into Sunday night.
Yes.
If the 49ers win.
Yes.
Terrifying to think about getting that flight home. Colleen, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Good luck. Have fun. And I really do hope for your sake that the Niners win.
Lovely to see you. Thank you.